I'm currently standing inside of a spawn room in almost everyone's favorite Overwatch map, King's Row. Most of us know that a spawn room is just a place where we, well, spawn and wait for the doors to open. Unless you're a Junker Queen player. But also do some fun activities like breaking everything or in some rare cases even socialize with other humans.
Hello.
But here's the thing, there are certain spawn rooms in Overwatch that feel a bit off. Have you ever wondered why some exit doors practically never get used? Why do some attacker spawns look so nice while defenders get whatever this thing is? Or some of the most obscure unused places are on the spawn area that you may have never been to. So let's explore some of the weird spawns that we can see in Overwatch. But first, let me quickly tell you how the spawn rooms work. You know, just in case some of you don't actually play Overwatch. But for the most of you who do, I hope you'll enjoy me putting my graphic design degree to use. When it comes to payload, hybrid, push, and flashpoint maps, oh yeah, and clash for all 5 people who vote for it, there are 2 types of spawns. First, main spawn, which is a starting location when the match starts, and 1 or 2 forward or backward spawns that you appear in after you or enemy team secures a checkpoint. The spawn rooms themselves can have anywhere from 2 to 5 exits, with the first attacking spawn usually having 3 exits and defender spawns at 2. The forward spawns usually come with 2 exits. Interestingly enough, this attacker's first spawn on Blizzard World is the only spawn from the current attack-defense game modes that has only 2 exit doors. And no, we don't count Hanamura. And this is the only defender spawn on Circus Royale that has 4. The first place I want you to look at is this attacker spawn on Rialto. Let's imagine that the match is about to start and the very first choice that you have to make is to choose which exit are you going to be taking. This particular spawn comes with 5 different exits. 2 on the left and 2 on the right, and 1 in the middle. The exits that are present in this spawn all serve some kind of a purpose. Do you wish to go directly to the right flank after the doors open? You got it. Want to snipe an enemy the first 3 seconds into the game? Or get sniped yourself? You got it. Want to be a payload princess from the get-go? Yep, you can also do that. This is what I consider to be a well-designed spawn. A spawn where you have an option to take any exit door and it will always be a viable choice. Okay, spawns have doors and exits. I never realized that. Thank you for letting me know. Oh, wow. Well, what is so weird about them? I was just about to get to that part. Now let's go back and check this attacker spawn on King's Row. The moment you spawn in this area, you can immediately see this huge structure in front of you, which is obviously the exit area. That is also hinted by these thick outlines around the doorways. And without moving your camera, you can also notice the stairway that leads you to yet another exit on the right side. But from this camera angle, you are probably not going to notice that there is one more pathway that you can take. That is located on the left side of the spawn, where you have to take a small walk through this tunnel to reach it. Now I want to ask you all one simple question. How many times do you think I've seen anyone, including myself, use this obscure spawn for the past 9 years that I've been playing this game? A. Never. B. 6 to 7 times. C. Less than 3. Or D. This unrelated image. The correct answer is C. Less than 3. And I'm not even joking. There are multiple reasons why this particular spawn exit is not being utilized. First, as I've already noted, it is not that visible in comparison to other spawns. 2. It is just ugly. I mean, look at this whole tunnel. If this was real life, would you walk into this place if you were given a choice? A place where it's just a bunch of pipes, this prop that cannot even be moved, and this dead rat. But most importantly, this spawn exit doesn't lead you to any unique flank routes like on Rialto. By taking this exit, your end destination is going to be the same choke point area, which you can also reach by taking middle or right exit doors. And not only that, but it also takes you slightly longer to reach the choke point. If I were to be a talented and sophisticated mapmaker, then I would have moved the entrance to the tunnel much closer to the forward gates and moved this exit door a bit forward, to negate extra time that it takes to walk towards the choke point. I doubt that this will make the exit as popular as the other ones, but at the very least it will be slightly more viable than it is right now. And we can see a similar issue on some other maps like Eichenwald, Paraiso, Hollywood, Shambali, and more. These maps also have exit areas that I will consider to be never used. I just find it funny how in most cases they have no practical use whatsoever. Again, why take this long unnecessary pathway that will lead you to the same destination as another exit and even faster? This exit door on Paraiso makes sense. It leads you towards the choke point and a sightline that you can use to your own benefit. But if we look to the right, we'll see another exit that doesn't lead you towards the point or any meaningful flank routes. Instead, it just delays you. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that all of these rooms should be fully removed or changed. In fact, I do like it when a spawn room gives you a bit of a weird pathway that you can take. But so far, I've mostly mentioned payload and hybrid maps, so let's play a little game. Let me show you two control maps and their respective spawns, and I want you to tell me which one do you think is a well-designed spawn and which one is not. Here on the left side, we have Lichine Tower Control Center spawn. And this one on the right is Ilias Lighthouse. Which one do you think is a better spawn? If you answered Lichine Tower, you're correct. Now what about this spawn on Busan Sanctuary versus this one on Oasis University? Now, if you answered that both of them are good, you're correct. This elbow path that you can take on Ilias Lighthouse just makes no sense to me. Look at this. You first have to walk all the way up here to just go down the stairs again, turn to the right and then left again. I mean, sure, it makes sense if you're a Blight main in Dead by Daylight, but we're not playing Dead by Daylight, so you just end up wasting your time going from here to the objective. But there is one cool thing that you can do with this spawn exit. You can do a bit of parkour. And as we discussed earlier with what is considered to be a well-designed spawn, taking any of these exits on these two maps won't result in any of the disadvantage to you. You know, when I said that there are well-designed and not so well-designed spawns, I actually forgot to mention a third category, which I proudly going to name as silly spawn. Here's the Midtown attacker spawn. You select your hero, appear inside this pizzeria, see two exits in front of you and decide to take the front one. You step outside to go towards the point when suddenly... Wait, where did he come from? Don't tell me that there's one more exit in this... Oh. Yep, in case you never noticed, and I cannot blame you for it, there's another exit inside of this spawn, and it is actually pretty well hidden. You remember when I spoke about King's Row and its left spawn exit? While you could still barely see it as soon as you spawned, and it wasn't obstructed by any walls, this one inside Midtown is far more evil. Because not only is it outside of your view, which requires you to move your mouse or controller 90 degrees to the right, but also as soon as you step a bit forward, you probably won't be able to even see it. You might as well put a huge sign in front of your face as soon as you spawn in. Now take a look at this alleyway outside of it. As I understand, this doorway is supposed to be a back exit or fire exit that you can see in restaurants. And usually those exits contain a garbage bin, but in this case, this alleyway has nothing. Yeah, there are some just across the street, but we don't count those. The reason why I call it a silly exit is that if you go through this alleyway, it takes about 8 seconds of your life and progress that you could have made by taking a front exit instead. And you might recall me saying how taking a side exit should make it quicker for you to access a flank route of that particular side. Well, in this case, it is actually faster to take the front doors and go directly to the right side flank. If that's where you want to go for some weird reason, I guess. I would love to know why anyone will use this flank anyway. I mean, if the trash around this area is not a good enough indicator of the viability of this flank already, then I don't know what is. So what can be done with this particular spawn exit? Well, I do have an idea in mind. We can just permanently close this door and instead move a few things around the spawn and introduce a new and improved spawn door right here. Adding a doorway here will also significantly increase the viability of this flank, but that's just a theory. But the spawn exits are not the only thing that I find weird. Have you ever noticed that on some maps there seems to be areas just outside of the spawn that are never used? This is some pyramid made out of rocks that we can find on Nepal village map. It looks interesting to say the least, but it is not what actually interests me. The truly strange part of this map is located just behind it. This absolutely empty chunk of space just outside of the spawn. There's absolutely nothing in here. Okay, apart from some planks and fences, but yeah. You've probably been to every corner of this particular map and even attempted crossing this risky pathway, but I doubt that you ever visited this empty area just beneath the spawn. If we look up, we'll see a closed spawn door, which makes me think that at some point this doorway was open and you could actually use it as an exit, but later it was closed down for some unknown reason. We can see that on some other control maps, this particular exit is closed due to a lack of any walkable surface underneath them. Meanwhile, Samoa likes breaking your ankles by having not one, but 2 drop-down exit spawns. And since we're in Samoa, not only do I want to question this landing zone, which we can blame this crab for, and yes, I actually never knew that there's a crab here because I never go up here, but yeah. But also, this entire hill is quite weird. And silent. Sorry. Even though this can be considered a viable rollout path, I do wish to know the purpose of this health pack and this entire high ground area over here. If you're not on a hero with vertical mobility, it does take about 7 seconds to climb all the way up here. And even if you do that, then what? If we stand here and look around, we'll see that there aren't any meaningful sightlines we can utilize. It also doesn't help that everything is blocked by these buildings either. So all we can do is drop down from here and probably move this health pack to a more viable spot. And since we're talking about weird health pack placements, look at this outside spawn area on Ilios, Oasis, and Busan. None of these spawns have a health pack in front of the spawn, which kinda makes sense since you don't actually need a health pack around the spawn when you can just enter the spawn room and get free heals. That is until we look at this health pack monster of a spawn area on Lijiang Tower Night Market. Oh, and just so we're clear, when I say spawn area, I actually mean everything that is around 20 meters from the spawn doors. This is the only spawn area in the entire game that has not one, not two, but 3 health packs this close to the spawn. You kinda expect health packs to be closer to flank routes and the main objective, but for this particular case, there are just as many health packs outside the spawn as around the objective. But the biggest offender has to be this particular small health pack spot that you can find all the way here, hidden behind this metal box. Which also means that the only way you can see this health pack is briefly after exiting a spawn and when looking towards the spawn and jumping up, unless your hero is tall enough. This is actually so weird to me, considering that if we look at the other 2 map stages of Lijiang Tower, there are either no health packs or not as many and as close as on the Night Market stage. I would argue that it makes sense to put at least 1 health pack in this area on Control Center to make it a bit fair, and so that it looks a bit less empty. But do you know what else looks empty? Yeah, this is a defender spawn on Route 66. As we can all see, it's just a dark, half-empty box with nothing fun to do in it. Well, at least blowing up propane is kind of fun, I guess. And if we look around the attacker's spawn, we'll see that it is full of various cool details that you can look at and interact with. Such as these lower walls that look like teeth, cool retro-looking posters on the wall, or this QR code that you can scan at the counter. Do not try to scan it, you'll get nuked. And you might be thinking that this is the only time we can see such a big contrast between 2 opposing spawns, right? Wrong. If you've played enough Overwatch, you've most likely noticed a pattern of defender spawns looking subpar to the attacker spawn. The reason why defender spawns are mostly empty and boring is due to the fact that unlike the attacking team, defenders actually have to, well, defend the first point. That means you actually have to go outside. And that is why if you try to play any of the arcade games inside of Blizzard World's defender spawn, you cannot actually score anything no matter how hard you try. Yes, these arcade games are kind of faked, even this air hockey table. Oh, and the only way you can win something in this room is by picking Sombra, who will automatically hack one of the machines in her favor. That's still a fun fact if you didn't know about it. Meanwhile, attackers get a privilege of actually having fun inside of the spawn, with a variety of things that they can do, such as making things spin, interacting with props, doing some parkour, playing piano, eating some food, listening to some music, and doing some illegal activities. And that is pretty much all I have to say about Overwatch spawns. Most of them are fine, but some definitely stand out just a bit more than others. I hope you found this video interesting. Thank you to my YouTube members for supporting this channel. And as always, I shall see you all in the next one.
Les hommes se vantent de leur conquête.